Hi, we are Team 6. We did a traffic study for an intersection located at Shepherd and West Little York. My name is Miguel Talamantes. I will be introducing you to the existing conditions of the intersection along with the traffic data. My other teammates will be presenting the innovative solutions to resolve the traffic problems at this intersection. The intersection is located at North Shepherd and West Little York. Here you can see the Google map and the terrain of the intersection. Please note that North Shepherd has an HOV overpass running parallel to it. Here we can see a much clearer representation of the intersection. North Shepherd has 5 lanes leading up to the intersection. The far left lane becomes a U-turn in a left turning lane. As a result, North Shepherd only has 4 lanes at the intersection. After clearing the intersection, those 4 lanes becomes 3 lanes. At the West Little York Street, it's a 3-lane street at the intersection. The far left lane turns into a left turning lane. After clearing the intersection, it becomes a 2-lane street. As you can see, the left turning lanes at the North Shepherd have to cross underneath the HOV overpass. At these crosses, the clearance has to meet the TxDOT guidelines. This requirement was an obstacle for our innovative designs. One of the major causes of traffic volumes are the local businesses at this intersection. Here we have a Jack in the Box, a Shell gas station, an apartment complex, a USPS center, a Mexican restaurant, an auto service tire shop, and a Harris County courthouse. Traffic data. This is a vehicle trip generation graph. This shows a top and occupancy generates a certain amount of trips or vehicles arriving or leaving that occupancy, that said business. The X value is the square footage, while the Y value is the number of trips generated. For a 1,000 square foot fast food restaurant, the average trip generated in the PM hours is 51 trips. This is for a gas station. For a 1,000 square feet gas station in the PM hours, it generates about 68 trips. The main cause of the traffic volume is the apartment complex located at the intersection. For a 200 unit apartment in the PM hours, it generates 180 trips. These trips added all together cause a major traffic problem at the intersection. Traffic volume. This graph is a study made by the City of Houston of the traffic volume at the intersection. The peak hours are at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m., with a peak hour volume of 1,160.
Hi guys, I'm Carol. So Brian and I, we're going to be discussing the DOT intersection as one of our proposed solutions. So the displaced left turn intersection, what it does is that it relocates the left turning lane 300 to 400 feet back from the main intersection. So for the vehicles that want to turn left, they have to cross to this new street that runs parallel to the opposing lane flow. And so what the DOT ultimately allows for is that the through traffic and the turning and the left turns simultaneously during the same phase signal. Okay, so here we have our existing intersection and our intersection design as with the DOT design. So we decided to keep our U-turn, and we actually added another one on the opposite side because there is a USPS center over here, and we want them to have access to both both sides, either direction that they want to go. So the U-turn is going to help them. Also, as you can see, the U-turn is right in between the main intersection and the left turn crossover. The obvious addition that we have here is the two left turns, and also we have some new lights right here. And the left turns were applied to both of the major streets. So a problem that we notice with the intersection as it is right now is that people are not following the pedestrian traffic signs, and that with this non-traditional intersection, people are going to be more likely to not to follow. Be more likely to follow the signs because they're not familiar with the traffic flow. Also, as you can see, the median islands, they were made bigger. So as I had mentioned before, the through and left turn traffic, they will be moving during the same phase. So as a result, we're eliminating the left phase from the main intersection. And so we're reducing the signal phases. And because of that, we will have a higher capacity in our intersection. Another pro that comes from this design is that we will reduce the spillover that we once had that was created by the people that wanted to turn left. Some people wanted a U-turn and they couldn't because of the spillover. So that's not going to be much of a problem now because they have plenty of space before it gets full. So yeah, now I'm going to pass it on to Brian.
All right, so I'll be talking about the cons for the DLT solution. The first con that we found was that there's limited space for the separation of lanes. This means we didn't have that much space to work with, and so we had to come up with an idea that would separate the lanes and not take up that much space. We found that poles would be the best option for this solution. The poles would actually mitigate the amount of wrong way driving, which actually happens a lot in DLT solutions. And so the second problem was that in the northbound direction, which is down here, the left turn lane is actually a little too close to the U-turn, and we kind of have to slide it down a little, which has to cut into the solid portion of the overpass. And this is just going to add more cost to the project. The third con was that, as you can see in this picture right here, we have to remove the control/communication boxes that are here, and as well as the pedestrian signs and the traffic signals. Again, it'll add more to the cost. And so now I'll talk about the estimation portion of the project. For the most part, the biggest chunk of cost will come from installing highway traffic signals, which, as you can see, is the majority of the cost. But other than that, most of the cost will come from removing concrete as well as adding concrete. As you can see, we're going to need quite a bit of square yards of concrete, and again, we're going to have to remove the ground boxes as well as traffic signals that are already installed. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty expensive. As you can see here, the 3-month average was with the 20% tolerance will be like around 127,000, and 12-month average will be 190,000. But it's a good solution. It gets rid of some of the problems that are addressed. And I'll let Felix take over for now.
Now onto the ARCUT solution. ARCUT stands for Restricted Crossing U-Turn Intersection. And basically the whole premise of this intersection solution is that it displaces through traffic and left-turning traffic from minor streets and moves it away around 400 to 1,000 feet away from the intersection downstream. And basically what this does, it allows for through traffic from the major road as well as left-turning traffic from the major road to flow more freely, because now it doesn't have interruptions from minor street traffic going through. Here to the right, we can see the example of an ARCUT intersection in Michigan. We can see how minor street traffic is immediately forced to turn right in arrival to the intersection. And we can also see that there's a median separating left turn orientations for both sides of North Shepherd, southbound and northbound. Here's the ARCUT solution. Here's our proposed, adapted to our intersection. We can see how immediately traffic from West Little York upon arrival at the intersection was immediately turn right, which then downstream they will join if they can wish to continue going straight, so per se, do a U-turn and followed by some lane changes and turning right, which would be land them in the same orientation that they would want to go prior. We can also see how there is traffic signals involved, as well as yielding signs. And this is so we can able to implement the ARCUT solution more efficiently. We can also see that there's a big pavement concrete in the middle, and this allows to separate the traffic from both orientations. Now onto the pros of the ARCUT solution. The ARCUT solution has an increased efficiency for through traffic from the major street, which in this case is North Shepherd Road, because now it is not interrupted by any minor street traffic. Another pro is that it has an increased safety for drivers on this intersection, because by removing away immediate left turns, the number of points of contact are now drastically reduced in comparison to a conventional intersection. Another pro is that it has decreased wait times for the intersection, because by displacing straight through traffic and left turning traffic from minor streets, the intersection now relies more heavily on yielding, and the number of traffic signal faces is reduced. Because of this, the cycles shorten, and in turn it decreases wait times from the traffic signals. Now, Christy will talk about some of the cons from the ARCUT solution.
Okay, thank you, Felix, for talking about the pros of the ARCUT solution. Now I'm going to be talking about the cons of the ARCUT solution. So the first one would be left turning traffic from North Shepherd, which may still remain congested even after the intersection alterations, which is a primary issue of the intersection. The second con would be through traffic from West Little York must make 6 to 8 lane changes in order to arrive at the desired orientation in a relatively short amount of time. This may pose a risk for drivers to commit this number of lane changes under pressure to make the U-turn. And the last con would be during the times when West Little York has higher than usual flow of traffic, this solution may increase congestion in the minor streets as it reduces the mobility of its users. Onto the ARCUT solution estimation. Here we can see once again the average low bid prices from TxDOT for April 2021 with the 3 and 12-month averages. We have to remove existing concrete medians in order to adapt to the solution, but more significantly, we must add concrete pavement to implement the medians that Felix discussed previously during the proposed intersection. We must also take into account the lane markings, as some of the lanes have different orientations as before and must be redrawn. We also have to remove some of the existing traffic signals as well as to install signals in different locations. We must also place signs to show drivers which lane to remain in order to get to their desired orientation. Here we can see the 12-month average total cost, which is the more accurate estimation since it is based on a longer time with a total of $137,992, and with the 20% tolerance for the cost, it would be a total of $165,554. And on to the recommendation and conclusion. Our primary recommendation is the displacement left turn solution because it is able to address the main problem of this intersection, which is left turning traffic from North Shepherd. We are able to implement 2 protected left turning lanes away from the intersection, allowing for the primary intersection to flow more freely. It is more appropriate for the conditions of the intersection between North Shepherd and West Little York. It is also only marginally more expensive than the R-cut solution by a difference of $25,000, making the intersection adjustment worth its value. Therefore, we're going to be recommending the DLT solution to be installed. And thank you for listening.